Okay, so for the Gen 3 Busa ABS delete, going to show where the connections are made. The box is set up to kind of sit over here. Then you've got your diagnostic connector that will plug in, and then I have the mating connector here, so you can still use this for code clearing, flashing, whatever you need to do there. Also, in addition, you have this small harness that you're going to have to depin 2 wires from the 48-pin connector. You have to slide this hood off first, which is pretty easy to do, and depinning these are very easy as well. I'll show that. Then you've got this long harness. These are going to plug into the factory wheel speed sensors. So this is for the rear. This guy's for the front. Okay, the front is up here in this corner. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get to with the air box on. Might be easier with the air box off. And then for the rear, your rear wheel speed is right here, kind of real close to the ABS. You'll disconnect that guy, plug in. Obviously at that point you could remove your ABS or just disconnect it electrically. And then there's also some connections that you've got to make here. So there's this white 2-pin connector that goes down to the accelerator, and this is what cancels cruise control. If you roll your throttle forward, you're going to disconnect this. You're also going to disconnect your rear brake switch from this guy here. And then I've got a harness here that will go in line to all of those things. Okay, so you can see I've plugged my male and female connectors into inline to the cruise control cancel stuff. Okay, and then at this point I'll plug in the rear brake switch to this guy, and then this female here will go back to where we originally had the brake switch plugged in. Okay, so once I've made those connections, you can see this is plugged in. It's plugged in here. This relay here will just kind of drop down underneath the tank there. And the way you can test this real quick is if you just turn your key on and you squeeze the brake, either the front or the rear, you should hear that relay click. And essentially what that's going to do is give you the same type of signal that you would get when you roll the throttle forward on your cruise control, which is a cruise control cancel. Okay, so on this 48-pin connector, I already have mine unseated here, but there's 2 little tangs, one on this side, one on this side. If you just lift them up a little bit, you can get this to slide off. Okay, once that is slid off, what the 2 wires that you're interested are this blue with black and this blue with white. Blue with black is the front wheel speed sensor, and blue with white is the rear wheel speed sensor. So it's important when you put my wires in that you do that correctly, or things are going to work backwards, and traction control will be a little upset with you. To unpin these, you'll see we've got this white lock here. All you have to do is on the top here, the 2 separated pieces, take a little screwdriver and just push those that way. Okay, not the easiest thing to demonstrate while holding the phone, but I'm going to go ahead and unseat these. I'm going to click them. You can kind of just hear it. Okay, that guy's going to click. And then once you've done that, the first time you do it, they'll be a little snug. After that, it slides out pretty easy. But so I'm going to just go ahead and remove the black wire here. You'll notice the pin orientation, the crimp and everything is facing down right now, like where you could actually see a little bit of the wire. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. And then I'll just insert the other 2 wires, again in the same way that they were factory, the white wire in this spot here, and then the black wire all the way towards the top. Okay, sorry, I know I'm not showing you what you need to see here at the moment, but it's a little challenging holding both. Okay. And then once you have those both of those are fully seated, you want to make sure that they're pushed in. Then you can go and then just take the white lock and you're going to push this way with it on each side. So each side will click back down. And if for some reason there's resistance and it does not want to go, that means that you don't have either those 2 wires in, or you've accidentally pulled out on another wire. So all the wires have to be happy in order for that to go in. And then once you have those, these 2 wires, you could just go ahead and tape off or put some heat shrink on. Really, with the ABS valve, they're really not connected to anything anymore. They're made in a connection in the ABS valve there that once you disconnect it, they're kind of be flapping in the breeze there. So essentially, at that point, you can go ahead and put this connector back. Assuming you've already made your front and rear wheel speed connections, you should be good to test things out. Okay, so once that's been plugged in, I've disconnected the connector on my ABS valve. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key on, and you should see the ABS light come on for a very brief second and then shut itself off. And I've got a bunch of other things that are unplugged right now, which is why I've got the FI light. Your TC light's still gonna work like normal. After the bike rolls, a few feet or whatever it takes, you'll see the TC lamp go off. And that's pretty much it for the install.